Hello and welcome. This is going to be a divine partnership coaching video and another in the series When Comics Attack. Thank you also for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It definitely helps me continue to do videos like these. If you enjoy them, please do that. And it also adds your energy to the collective that I am able to channel for and do videos like this for. So thank you so much for being a part of that. I want to talk about in this one something that I have over the years started calling pretty words. And in most cases, what it relates to is, well, it's two things. One, it's somebody who is telling you exactly what they think you want to hear. And in most cases, it is what you want to hear. But they don't actually have an intention of following through with it, and or they don't have a plan on how they're going to do it, even though they're telling you that they're going to do it. And typically, they will do this over and over again, and you'll end up in the same like loop of fights because they say that they'll do it and then they don't. Um, the other side of that was I was going to say is when they tell you it can be something simple like you ask for something and they say, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that," and then they don't. Or they say they're sorry, but then they don't show any remorse or empathy, or they don't actually change their behavior because an apology is really meaningless without changed behavior. Those are pretty words. Pretty words are, they sound nice and they are what you want to hear, but they're empty. They don't actually have the meaning behind them. They don't have the spirit of the actual intention to do it. And I mean, really, if you're entangled with somebody who continually does this, it's important to recognize that you're probably either in a karmic relationship that is not meant to stay together. It's meant to help you learn boundaries and learn to recognize red flags and to stop over giving to people who do not reciprocate. Or you're in like a twin flame relationship where your partner, your twin, is in karmic energy, and you still need to proceed in similar ways to create a healthy dynamic. If you're finding yourself faced with somebody who is using pretty words to either get you to not be mad anymore or to get the cycle to start over and to avoid true accountability, to avoid truly talking about the matter in depth, what I recommend is that you put a time frame, a measurable time frame on how long you will give. Well, it's important to recognize it's a boundary. So you're not putting a rule on them, but you can be clear about what your boundary is. Like, I have asked for this need to be met. It is not being met. I will give, I will not let my boundary down for 14 days, like 2 weeks, something like that. Um, and really what I would look at is how long does their cycle usually last? Like, do they tell you pretty words and then the next day they're right back at it? Well, you could probably say a week. Are they able to go 1 week and then suddenly they revert back? Okay, then go 2 weeks. Really, to be honest, it takes a minimum of 20 days, but really it takes around 30 to 31 days for a new habit to be developed or an old bad habit to be released. So, I mean, it's actually not unhealthy to say, you know what, I am going to hold this boundary of I'm going to focus on my work and my friends and on me for 31 days. And if within that time you have actually done these things that you are saying that you will do to make sure that we have a healthy relationship, that you show me the empathy and reciprocation and atonement that that these pretty words give me the impression that you actually mean, then we can revisit it. Until then, no. Because effectively at that point in time you're really already looking at more than likely a dynamic that is, I mean, it's definitely unhealthy if you're getting a whole bunch of pretty words and they're rarely ever, like I'm talking maybe 1 out of 10 times they actually do what they say that they're going to do, or they're pretty words are matching up with their actions, it's already a toxic relationship. So you're not losing anything by going 30 days without interacting in that. And really, you got to look at, like, if holding a boundary like that is really that risky to the relationship you're in, then you got bigger problems. Because if you can't have a healthy boundary and they're not able to see that as reasonable and understandable in consideration to what they are doing, they're not going to own it and they're not going to be accountable for it. And whatever rewards you think may come from being passive about it are not going to be rewards. It's going to be more pain, and you're going to keep going through that cycle again and again. Now, here's the thing: if there is a healthy relationship in there and they really just needed somebody secure around them to be able to have faith in them to do what's needed to be done and show what emotional security is, then they're, yeah, they might have a fit or two in between it, but they're actually going to recognize the value in it and they're going to start coming around. Now, if somebody's been caught in a cycle like that for a long time, it's going to take more than once. I mean, you're looking, look at the relationship as long term in that case. It could be that you tackle one issue and that takes a month, and then you have the proof and the evidence and they built the habit, and then you got to tackle the next issue for the next month. So really, I mean, already right there, think about, is this person worth that effort on your half? Because your boundary has to be very clear. Like, what is your boundary? Is it that you're not going to go out to movies, you're not going to cuddle? Does it mean that you're not going to feel interested in like deeper physical affection? Is it that you're going to hang out with your friends much more often? Like, just be clear about it. You can have all sorts of boundaries, and my general rule is, as long as you're not like attention seeking with other potential partners or using people to make others jealous, then you have a lot of options outside of that. um, unless you're in a polyamorous dynamic that everybody has consented to, in which case, sure, you could lean into a different partner while you allow the other partner to correct their own behaviors, be responsible for themselves, because you can't control them, but you can ask them to control themselves. And if they're not capable of doing that, they're really not ready to be in a relationship anyways. And if you're not capable of holding your own boundaries when you see that they're not really ready to be in a relationship, then neither are you. But yeah, when it comes to pretty words or broken promises, false apologies, things of that nature, when a karmic attacks in that way, or a twin flame is in karmic energy and attacks in that way, best thing you can do is put a measurable time frame on it. One, it's going to be the last thing that they actually expect, because they're so used to just being able to say, "Oh yes, honey, I'll totally do what you say. I'm sorry, I was a jerk, and please forgive me, and I'll do all that you want." Or even it could be that in the beginning of the relationship, they told you that they would be all that in a bag of chips, and they would work and provide for you, or cook and clean and take care of everything, or make everything all better. And then, it's kind of, sometimes it's kind of pie in the sky things, and other times it's actually realistic stuff, but it's not realistic for them. Like, it's more them looking at what you liked or what you had from a different relationship, or what they think that you want, and promising that stuff when they don't have those habits down and they don't have those skills, or they don't actually have the intention to follow through with that, but they wanted some sort of connection with you. And usually, if it's a karmic relationship, even if it's a soulmate, it's often more about money or material things, houses, or survival mode, things like that. Or even sometimes it's about getting even with you, or getting even with somebody else, like an ex of theirs. It's not usually actually about love, and so the pretty words can give you the effect of love, like it makes a limerence sort of condition, but they don't actually follow through. That's why it's so important to look at a person, how a person's words line up with their actions. And if their actions don't fit with their words, they're likely just pretty words. They don't, they sound nice, they feel nice to hear, but they don't mean anything. They're empty. They don't lead to anything. All right, if you enjoy these videos, please make sure to like and subscribe, and otherwise I will see you in the next video.